Welcome back, guys, to another video of the channel. In today's one, I'll be focusing on making the second solid engine mount. So this is it right here. This is by the passenger side. Alright, so first I'm just going to begin to taking this piece by piece. This is quite a hefty piece since there's many pieces with it. So there's this one. Then there's going to be this piece which bolts onto the actual engine using these two pieces right here. Then there's the actual bushing, which is this piece here. And then this piece right here is the piece that bolts onto the chassis. Now I can already tell you that I'm not going to be making anything out of this. This is already just a metal piece. It's a really nice piece, so I'm not going to touch this. But with these three pieces, this one, and this one, there is something to do. This one's already a pretty hefty piece. I can just either just drill this out and leave this as it is, since it is pretty light. Like if you remove this, it is pretty light. And I can just keep it as it is. Do I want to do that? Maybe. Maybe I'll try it. But if not, I'll just make something out of metal. And this piece, these two pieces right here, this one and this one, they are pretty heavy, so I do want to actually make something first. First I'll just start off by probably making this piece, since if you look at the lower mount, it is flat and then it curves slightly. So I'll probably start with this one. First of all, I'll just see what I can do, and then I'll catch you guys back. Actually, I'll change the plans. I'll probably start first with this piece right here. Since this whole entire thing is aluminum, which is really nice, I'll probably just remove this bushing here, clean it out, and then I'll make something like a plate that goes from this point to this point, and then it would also connect to here, point here, so I can bolt this on. This should be way easier, and then I'll probably move on to making these two pieces right here. Catch you then. I've cleaned up this bushing mount right here. This is what the bushing actually mounted into, which is this piece right here. And this is how this looks like. It's a pretty simple design. I can definitely, since this is aluminum, I'm probably just gonna make like I said before, like a plate right here that goes across from here to points, and then I'll be able to weld a nut just like this one right here, and then I'll be able to screw this one in place. Now before taking out the bushing, I did measure how high this piece sat in this spot. And it's around 1.1 inches high. So now that I know that measurement, I can actually weld my plate as I want to. So I can either weld this plate across and then just build a nut right here. Or I can just build something right here and then put my plate up top. Either way, it's gonna work just fine. Just like, I can't really demonstrate this unless I actually take this out. Let's see. Alright, this goes here. Then just pretend I have a plate right here. Just pretend, you know. And then this is pretty much how it's gonna sit. Just like that. Now the thing about this, now that everything is removed, this is like really light, so I'm pretty happy about that. But also I could also drill out this piece here and just make this a hole. There's already some holes here, and I can just drill this piece out. And that should also work fine. I could do that as well. So I will get to either making this plate right here, and I would also get to drilling this out right here. Then I'll be back. And I'm back. Here is the finished product pretty much. I've cleaned up all the surfaces here. It looks pretty good. I've also cut away this hole, so now that's not intruding as well. I've also leveled this out. There was like a little lip on here. Now the piece of metal, for example, like this one, can sit flush with the actual mount. Now I just have to grab some piece of metal like this. This is bent, so it's not usable, but just pretty much put it as well, like so. Drill 2 holes in here so I can put it onto, where is it? Onto this piece right here. So I can put it like so. And then all I need to drill out is another small hole in the center of this piece so I can mount my thing where it connects to the engine block. And that's pretty much should be it, really. I've already decided that I'm not going to bother with these just yet, since I'm not sure if I'm going to be using it at the end of the day. So I'm just going to be messing with this actual bushing right here. Alright, so I'm going to make this little plate right here. Going to drill the 3 holes in it, and I'll be pretty much back. Fast forwarding a bit, here is pretty much the, well, almost not final product. Here's the plate, this is where it's to, and this is where it's going to bolt down. The only thing that I have to do is just weld a little nut in here, so I can actually bolt everything right up. And if we put this piece on like so, there we go. And this is the piece that bolts onto the engine. If we line it up with the center of everything, you can see, I'm not sure if you can see it, but you can see it lines up pretty darn well. Now I just have to find this bolt right here. I have to probably get a new one or something, or even just get a new nut and just weld this onto this plate, which I'll probably do tomorrow since everything is closed. But once this is done and dandy, I'll be able to paint pretty much everything, make everything look nice and new, and then I'll be able to bolt everything right up. But I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. Either paint this black as well, or just polish it up really nicely to make it look really nice. I'm not sure, I'll probably see. But yeah, this pretty much will conclude today's day. I will actually, before going to tomorrow, I will probably polish this up a bit. I want to cut this part off and cut these little knobs off. The same thing with this side over here. I'll probably as well polish this up as well. Clean it, make it look nice, make it look shiny, like get rid of like little imperfections like right here. Get rid of this piece right here, and then I'll be pretty much all set. But so far, I'll get this done, and then I will be... Alright, I'll be back. After some time grinding, cutting, sanding, here is pretty much all the final pieces. This one right here, it did have some casting marks that I removed. I've also sanded them down. It looks pretty nice. I flattened out all of the surfaces that it bolts onto the chassis. I've removed any part numbers. There was one right here. And so far, it just looks pretty nice. I've also brushed it up to removing any loose dust. And then I can just paint this. Next piece is the one that bolts onto the engine. I did remove, or actually circle this piece right here. It was a big square. I've removed some of here pieces. There's some pieces back here that I removed. I've also removed, again, all the casting marks that were right here. I sanded it down. Oops. And it looks pretty nice. This is also the piece. This was probably the easiest piece. Really, I just sanded down some of the part numbers that were here. I've removed some of the rust that were on the sides. There's pretty much no rust anymore. I mean, this is a pretty certain piece. This one I've just, man, like this piece is really light, not gonna lie. I've smoothed down the surface one more time, smoothed everything down, and yeah. This piece also, after drilling this final hole, it also looks pretty nice. I do have, also, because this piece has to sit like around 1.5 inches off, so it has to be like somewhere maybe like here where the top of the head is. I could use something like this. This is from the 3rd engine mount that I have. I could remove this bushing here and take this piece right here. Take this out, cut it into 1 inch, and then weld it onto this piece right here. And then on top of it, I could weld the actual nut. Since this will fit, like so, I could do that, maybe. But either way, everything is nice. I will go ahead and paint all of these pieces here. And this is the only piece that I will paint last. So now that everything is dry and painted, including this piece as well, what I want to do now is test this on the vehicle. The one thing that I need to have certain is whether this hole is right in the center. And if you look at here, it is. So I just want to prove too that I need to raise this piece right here by 1 inch. Then I can start welding up the actual spacer here, welding it up, and then bolting everything up. I am back from test fitting the solid engine mount. This is the polyurethane that I've made. I've taken out this little piece that it bolts onto from this little hole since I need it to make this little extension. I'm not actually going to be using it from this one right here, so that's okay. But what I have done, I've inserted a little nut here, which I will weld onto, and then I'll take this and weld onto here. Now the test fit wasn't perfect. I needed to make some adjustment to this piece right here. I needed to move this pole here slightly to the left, and I've done that so. And once I tested it worked perfectly fine. So the last step is just going to be welding this screw here, and then we're taking this piece and welding it on top of here. And once that's done, pretty much painted, reassemble it, polish this thing once more, and then we should be hopefully done. And here is the final piece. I've welded a little 1 inch piece on top of this flat piece. I've also welded a nut on top of it. Now I can just install everything back onto here, which I've already cleared everything out. So let's get to it. And here is the final install. Everything went quite smoothly. Everything installed. I still haven't started the car. But an interesting thing that I found is when I remove this piece right here, as you can see, this broke off. Where the bolt sits, which was right here that I removed to use for the solid mount, it actually broke off this, which actually might explain what I was getting sometimes rattling sound, and I couldn't figure out why, because everything was tight in my suspension because I thought it was my suspension. Maybe this would actually eliminate the noises that I was getting, but I will see. I'll start the car up. If everything's fine, then I'll bolt everything right up and see how it goes. Let's see how this looks, or this sounds, or feels. Honestly, it feels like exactly the same. Like, I don't feel much of a difference, really. Let's drive this car up a bit. Yeah, it feels totally the same. Like, it's either very different, but it's like very little. It's really not that noticeable. But oh well, let's go and make the third mount. So that the mount went absolutely phenomenal, let's now talk about why this mount failed. Now, it didn't fail because of the polyurethane itself. It failed because where I actually put this thing right here, where it bolts up to the engine. So what I originally did, I filled this hole up with polyurethane, let it sit, then drilled a hole out right the way to the bottom. This was covered. But what I should have done, and why I think this has failed, is because this was metal on metal contact. And over time, the vibration cracked the actual aluminum block, since this is quite thin, and there you go. It was rubbing metal to metal and making a horrendous sound. But if any of you do want to make your own engine mount, like not even solid, just polyurethane, what you should have done is drill a hole all the way completely through, and then slightly fill the bottom with more polyurethane, let it sit, and then install this piece here. Sorry about that. So in that case, instead of this being metal to metal, it would be sitting on actual polyurethane, which would be definitely much more better, and it would definitely never have failed. But you learn some, you win some. Either way, I'm just happy that I've got rid of this. I found the problem, and that's it. Well, thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and soon I will be making the last and final solid engine mount, so stay tuned.